Thanks for coming, everybody. So we're going to start with our feet kind of hip distance or a little bit wider. You could be on or off your mat. See, you can always change it as well. I'll just turn that down a tiny bit. And we'll begin. So before we work on the body, we're just going to bend the elbows with the palms facing up. Give the shoulders a little bit of a wriggle, and then feel like the crown of the head, because we kind of generally always lean forward, feel like the head is kind of crown of the head drawing up towards the ceiling, or not necessarily back, but just a little bit more level on your shoulders. So if you did do some small heels and toes rocking, you'd feel like the head's in a good position as well, all right? But anyway, back to these arms and the hands. So we kind of tune into our breath first of all. So see if we can inhale and lift our hands up a little bit, and then palms face the ground, and then exhale, lower the hands down. And that's it. We just keep going, inhaling, lifting up, and exhale, lowering. And you can keep it within that range, or you might go a little bit higher up, shoulders or higher, and then maybe a little bit lower down. And the arms might even go a little bit alongside the body. So you can go with your rhythm. You don't have to stay at the same pace. You might be slower, you might be quicker, but your arms, if it's okay, are going to start to move even higher, maybe up above the head, and then down alongside the body, something like that. And you're getting a nice rhythm of your breath. Big exaggerated breaths, arms floating down. And then if your feet, mine are a tiny bit too wide, I'm going to bring them in a little bit, but we can lift up, and you can add in kind of bending your knees and your arms floating back behind you, and then coming all the way up. If you want to, you could keep it simple. We always try and build up the poses, so bit by bit, try and build them up. And inhale. There might even be a little bit of a back bend at the top, but be careful. And then float the arms down along and back. And do 3 more rounds. So you see how you go, reaching nice and tall, and then bending the knees. I can almost get my arms to go horizontal to the ground. And I've got 1 more after this one for me. Pretty good. And then we just come all the way up to standing up. We kind of give our shoulders a little bit of a shake. You could even sway your arms a little bit from side to side. So see how that feels for your back. Any niggles and injuries and things, just you can skip poses. People take breaks. People even just tut and complain and shake their head in the background. Just had it all. Pretty good stuff. And then see if you get the shoulders just to go up towards your ears, so bad posture, and then back behind us, and then just lower down. And we kind of go up, back and down, up, back and down, up, back and down, just to see how that feels. And then we go back to the feet. So just seeing if we have a little bit of a bend in our knees, it makes us a little bit more stable. And we can lift the toes up a little bit, and then up and down with the toes. Just see how that goes. It's almost like if your knees are bent and you're a bit stable, it's almost like you don't need your toes. If we're not motoring forwards, then you kind of can lift your toes up and down a few times. Good. And then the harder bit is trying to lean into the balls of the feet and the toes and just take a tiny bit out the heels, or a little bit of weight out the heels, and just see how that goes. And you could venture to go a little bit higher with the heels maybe, and a couple of centimeters, an inch or something, and then lowering down. Then we can change that into maybe just going forwards and backwards a little bit, like we're kind of heel and toe rocking, heel and toe rocking. Again, just bringing awareness to our balance with the knees slightly bent. Pretty good stuff. And then we straighten out and we can kick out the legs a little bit. Good. And we're going to warm up our wide arms. We've done up and down. We're going to go wide with the arms. So you take the arms out to the side, and maybe they just go together, and hands together in front of your head and back down. Maybe that's all you want to do with your shoulders, or you could reach a bit taller and hands come all the way down. And then the third one might be the biggest range of motion you get with your arms, your shoulders, all the way to the centers. Then we've got our hands together, and we can bend the fingers back a little bit one way and bend the fingers back the other way. And if we put a bit of a bend in our knees, then we're a bit more stable, and we can move a bit from side to side. Now you can just keep your hands within range of your shoulders, or you might go a little bit past your shoulders, and it's almost like you're swaying a little bit in your hips and your toes might lift. So I kind of lift opposite toes as I go from side to side. And then if we come back to the middle and we just maybe nudge our feet a little bit wider so you feel pretty stable, on or off the mat's completely fine. And then we're just going to carry on, but you might be able to go over to one side. So if I go over to the right side, I can almost lift my left toes off the floor completely and the ball of the foot. And then you kind of do 1, 2, 3 and go over the other way, and you might lift the other toes off the floor. Yeah? And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a bend in our knees and go back over to the right. And you could even lift the left heel off, or even the toes might tap the ground a little bit. But you don't have to do that. Then we go 1, 2, and 3, go over the other way, and your toes might tap that way. Yeah? And then we're going to do one more each side. 1, 2, 3, stretching over, toes could tap. And then last side coming up. Pretty good. Over to the other side. Good. And you come all the way back to the center. You shake out your arms a little bit, and your feet, they might nudge in a little bit. You can keep changing them if you like. Excellent stuff. And then we're going to bring our awareness to like the Pilates center, your kind of core area. So arms alongside your body or on your hips, and a little bit of a bend in the knees. And it's like a bowl of soup. So it's almost like you try and tilt your hips forwards. So you're pouring soup or water out of the bucket in front of you, aware of the back and how that feels, and then come back and see if you can tilt backwards a little bit. Yes, it's almost flattening out your back if you were lying on the floor. And then one more each side, so you tilt forwards a little bit, and then you tilt back a little bit. All right, then you come to neutral, but you've still got a bend in the knees, and then the trickier one is trying to tilt to one side. It might feel like one knee's bent and the other leg straightens a bit, and then you come out of it, and then you go the other way, which is a bit of a fiddle as well. And then one more time each side, you're tilting one way, and then tilting the other. Then we come up and out of it. We have a little kick out of our legs, a little bit of a swaying of the arms. Just check how the back feels. My lower back doesn't feel the best, even just with a lazy sway of the arms. And then we reach the arms all the way up for a big breath, and your hands come down in front of your heart. So we revisit that again, but this time we're going to try and add in engaging all the muscles. So pelvic floor, core, glutes, everything you can, slight bend in the knees. So you're kind of almost like you're bracing yourself a little bit, and then you tilt forwards. So it's a lot stronger now. And then you come back and you tilt backwards. Yeah. And then one more each way. So forwards, squeezing all your muscles, glutes, pelvic floor, and tilting back. Whoa, pretty good. And then maybe we go for it. We go to one side and then the other side tilting, and then one more each side tilting that way and tilting the other way. Good. Then we come up and out of it. Same deal again. We loosen up. We kick out the legs. We sway the arms, whatever you like. Nice. And then a wide arms reaching all the way up. Then your hands come down in front of your heart. Good. A little bit for the arms and the shoulders before we come on to our drill with the cushions. So we can get like our left hand to go onto our left shoulder. So we're pointing the elbow out to the side, and just, you can start small. It's like you're drawing a small circle on the wall over there. And then if you try and build it up, see if you can go a little bit bigger, and maybe noticing how it makes most of your body move as well. All right. And then we're going to go back around the other way. See if you can go big with the circle. It's almost like you're trying to go forwards. I can't get up. I can get back behind me and down, but just noticing we're trying to maintain a good range of motion. And you shake that arm out, and then the other hand goes to the other shoulder. You point the elbow over to the side, and you can start small. You can keep it small. Maybe your shoulder doesn't feel that good on this side, or you can try and build it up. You can try and go a bit bigger. Yeah, and just explore that range of motion. It's always going back behind you that's a bit tricky. And then maybe trying to swap direction. You could go big and then make it a bit smaller. Smaller, 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 all the way back to 0. And then you just shake out that arm. Shoulders have a little bit of a wriggle. Then you throw the left arm out to the side. So this is a slightly harder version, well, more difficult. Before we had the elbow, now I've got the arm out to the side, and we're just going to draw circles. See how that goes. Notice if it's the rest of the body's moving a bit, and then maybe you go a bit bigger. So it's like you're drawing a bigger circle. You've got to see how the shoulder feels, but you might be able to go almost huge and trying to almost go alongside the body, back behind you, almost alongside the ear, and then back down alongside. There's a couple of those, and then can you swap it over? Can you go back down, around and behind? My arm's already getting tired. And then see if you can make that smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So then you're just pointing over to the side, tiny circle over to the side. Anybody know how much your arm weighs? That's feels pretty heavy, doesn't it? Then the right arm out to the side, and we start small with the circles. You could keep them small. You know, shoulder might not be that comfortable at all. Or you build up, and you build up, and you go bigger and bigger. And just very careful, any clunks and clicks, and just see what your full range is, and do a couple, 2 or 3 circles there. So when I go there, I get a little clunk, and then can you swap it over? So can you go the other way? And then after a couple of those, maybe you make them small, like a spiral, isn't it? Smaller and smaller, all the way over, and then you're just pointing over to the side, and then thankfully you can let that arm drop down, and your shoulders have a little bit of a wriggle. Take a wide arms, reach all the way up to the sky, and then the hands come down in front of the heart. We're going to do that one more time. Reach all the way up. Hands come down in front of the heart. Keep your hands together and just turn to one side, and then just do a side arms where you float your arms wide, and then they come back together. Stay in the twist and do one more over there. Inhaling, if you can add the breath in, exhaling, and then other side, opening up and back. And last one. Again, don't push through any discomfort. If you can't go full range, it's completely fine. And you come back to the middle. Excellent stuff. So then we're going to move on to our foam blocks. But these could be cushions, could be pillows, could be a couple of cats. If you've got cats lying around at home, this is for when you're at home. Your cat or children, I don't know. Or a bit of pasta, some soft pasta. Or a trifle you've made, left in the fridge that's gone off a bit. So we can have them like your 2 cushions, your 2 pads in front of you. So they're roughly hip distance or a little bit wider, but we start with 1 foot at a time, okay? So we have a little bit of a bend in our knees, and then we get the right foot is just going to step out onto the block, okay? And it's just, you're leaning in a little bit, just like a beginnery kind of stretch, just seeing how that feels, and waking up this right leg, okay? So waking up the leg, yeah. Pretty good. And then we come off of it, and then we straight away swap to the other foot. Steps on, and we lean in and out, in and out. So you're just beginning to bear weight on one leg, because as I go on about each week, often we kind of we walk around like, you know, we sway a bit like a weeble or something. So this is like a single leg press, but very early stages. We step off of the block, and then we go with the right foot. So we're swapping sides each time, and we lean in, and then we see if we can stay leaning in and think about the left foot starting to kind of come off the ground a little bit, or maybe the heel just comes off the floor. So you could just do that where the heel or the toes, heel is up and the toes are tapping a little bit, and just testing, building up heat in this front leg, and then you come out and swap over to the other side. Again, it could also be just on the floor if you haven't got the props. You could just do it on the floor and just practice leaning into one foot, and then you try and stay there, and then the back foot gets lighter, the heel comes up, or maybe the toes tap as well. All right, and then we step away, just kick out the legs and take a wide arms reaching up, and the hands come down in front of your heart. Nice. So we go back to the right foot stepping onto the block, and then what we're going to try and do is lean in. I'm going to try and go for it a bit more this time when maybe the toes come off the ground. So your arms can be out to the side for balance. If you can't balance or don't want to on one leg, then you just keep it at that stage with the toes tapping. But maybe the toes could lift off the ground and you hover a little bit. And then that's it. We swap it over to the other side. So you lean in with that foot. You do a couple of lunges to test it out, and then see if you can lean all the way in, and then the back toes might kind of come off the ground completely. See how that goes. All right? Nice. and then coming out of it. Pretty good. So then we're just going to go technical. So you get the right foot to go on, but now we keep the right leg straight. We might have had it a bit straight already, and just see if you can lean in. So it's a bit harder with a straight leg to get the other foot to come off the floor. It might be a bit more wobbly, especially on this uneven surface, but it's making the foot work. It's building up your ankle strength and all the bones in the foot kind of compensating. So wobbling's good. Then you come out of it, you swap over to the other side, but see if you can just make the left leg, the cushion leg, straight or pretty straight. And then try and float the heel off, the back heel or the toes, and maybe notice if you're a bit less stable, it's a bit more jittery, okay? And then come out, and then we go back with the right leg, but this time the right knee has a pretty good bend in it. And then you lean into it, and it might feel like you can recover any wobbles a little bit better with a bent knee. Might not, you might prefer a straight leg. And then you come out, and we go back to the last side, but the knee is bent, and you're leaning in, and you're trying to tap the toes on the back foot and see how you go with your balance. Nice. Then you come all the way back, you step off the blocks, the cushions, whatever they are, you kick out your legs and you gently sway your arms a bit from side to side. Nice. So the last few weeks we've only done one block at a time, but here we've got 2 cushions. So now we're going to step both feet onto the cushiony surface, whatever we've got, with the knees are nice and bent. All right, see how you go. And we're going to do this soup bowl thing. So we're going to try and engage our muscles, and then it might feel a little bit, well, it is less stable, but be careful. See if you can tilt forwards a little bit, and then see if you can tilt back a little bit. This might be a little bit more wobbly. And then one more, tilting forwards, and then tilting back a little bit. Good. And then can you go over to one side? And then can you go over to the other side? Pretty good. And then one more each side, tilting one way, the soup bowl, and then the other. Good. Then you come to the center and you come out of it and you step away and you kick out your legs. And then you throw in a wide arms, reaching all the way up, and your hands come down in front of your heart. So you can probably feel a little bit of heat in the core, in the lower back and the legs. And what we're going to do is we're going to move one of these cushions blocks out the way, because we only need one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move it over to the side, and we're going to step side on with it. Okay, so it's to our side. Get the other one. So basically we're just standing in between the 2 blocks. Be a bit quicker. Excellent stuff, right? Everybody's ready? Got their equipment lined up. Now your right leg, so you've got a little bit of bend in the knees. We've done all of this forwards and backwards, side to side. So we're feeling a little bit more stable. Shoulders are drawing back a little bit. So we're just going to get this right foot to lean over and step to the side. So we've got it's like a bit of a side squat. You're bending the knee and then you're coming off and back. Okay, so obviously before we were going forwards, so we're just stepping out to the side, and then we're going to see if we can lift the other foot up and then step it over, lean in carefully and come back to the middle. All right, so in theory we're building up leg strength, but in theory you know when you catch your foot and you trip, so we're just bringing a bit of awareness to now the right foot. We pick the right foot up and then we step it onto the block, give it a squidge, and then we come away. And then we swap to the other side. You step over, give that a squidge and come away. All right, so there's that bit to it. And now there's the single leg press. So if you step the right foot onto the block and kind of stay there and do the bit where you're leaning in and leaning in, like a bit more of a side squat. Yeah, and then we swap over, go to the other leg, step over and do some squidging and leaning in over there. Nice. So going back to the first foot, stepping over, arms might be to the side, and then see if the heel can come up, and maybe now you're staying on the right leg, but the left toes are nice and light. So it's like the foundation, the starting leg is the right foot, right leg. Yeah, see how that goes. See how your wobble goes. We've got a little bit of a bend in the knee, and feeling the heat building is good. And then we come out of it, and we're going to swap over to the other side. See if you can have the knee a bit bent, lean in. Again, it would work on the floor as well with no cushion underneath, but heel up, toes up, and then just seeing if you can hang on, try and breathe. Wobbling's good, whoop, and then come up and out of it. Yeah, so a bit tougher when we go out to the side than going forwards, maybe not. All right, kicking out the legs, take a wide arms, reach up, and the hands come down in front of the heart. Then we're going to revisit that with straight legs. So we see if you can get the right foot to go over, but the leg might now be straight, and you try and lean in, and then try and tap the toes, maybe. You don't have to have a straight leg, but it's interesting to see if you feel less confident with the leg straight, or it's definitely working the leg less without the knee bent. And then that's that done, and we swap over to the other side. Yeah, straight leg. Trying to get your toes to tap, and then noticing if you're more wobbly, or maybe this leg's better or worse than the other, and you come all the way out of it. Pretty good. And you kick out your legs and gently sway your arms. And then throw in a wide arms, take your arms all the way up. Hands come down in front of your heart, but then we're going to send the arms back to the sky. We'll do the rope ladder climb where you reach one arm a bit longer and then the other arm longer. So you're kind of engaging your core, you feel it in your ribs. And one arm, other arm, just kind of 3 each side. Do less, do more, and then finishing with your hands coming down in front of your heart. Excellent stuff. So with your cushions, whatever they are, your blocks, they can either go forwards or you can step back. Optional. Yeah. And now, so we're going to be a little bit careful. Mine feel a little bit wide, but I'm going to see how it goes. And what we're going to, so we're obviously going to step on now diagonal. So we've done forwards, we've done to the side, and now we're going to try diagonal. So it's a bigger distance. So if you need to shuffle over to that block, and in previous weeks, we've just used one block and we keep working. We've gone to each side, but we've got 2 this week if you want. All right, as good as a few people like, strategic. Yeah, just a couple of centimeters in. Very good. So see how we go. Before we do it, we'll just revisit bending your knees. Hands can be alongside the body on the hips. Engage all your muscles as much as you can and tilt forwards and just hold it a second. And then tilt back, kind of hold it a second. And then over to one side if you can. And then over to the other side if you can. Good. And then we stand up. And then now we're ready. So we're going to start with the right foot. And we're going to see if we can diagonally just step out onto that block. Yeah, and we're just going to lean in like we're warming up the leg again, just like the very first set we did, but we had the block in front, didn't we? So now it's a bit more of a bigger stride. Check you're happy with that. But in theory, over time, if you step out of it, I'll show you. In theory, over time, you'd get double the distance, or you'd keep increasing it anyway. So the other side, so we get the left foot to go out diagonally, check you're happy, and you just do some lunges over there. The knee's always kind of above the ankle, you're not buckling the knee in or anything like that. It's a hinge joint, right, like on a door frame. It will, obviously does move, but you're not really wanting to twist that knee. So in and out, pretty good. And you come out and then quick shake of the legs maybe. Right foot steps out to the side, we're leaning in, but this time now we could almost make that the starting leg, and then the left foot might try and heel come up maybe, or toes come up, and you're lunging out to the side, or maybe toes tapping, whatever you can do, and then building heat. So I can feel it building in my standing leg, and just getting comfortable, used to that, and liking it. Some people don't like energy building up in the body, but that's kind of making us stronger. We kind of want to get comfy with that. And then the left leg goes out to the side, and then you can either lean in like we just did, or you lean in and hold it and try and get the other foot. That's quite a big stride, yeah? So check you're happy with it, and maybe even the toes come off the floor and float around a little bit. Nice. And you come all the way back, kick out your legs. And then we can try it straight legs just to see. Ideally straight legs, then we go, oh yeah, everything is so much better when the knees are bent and we move around with more awareness instead of, that's the point of the straight leg. Ideally the straight leg should be worse, but then it does help a little bit with your balance. So if the right leg goes out to the side, and then you kind of keep it straight, and then a bit trickier, but see if you can lean into that leg, and then maybe the other heel comes off or the toes come off, but it will build up your balance as well. Now that we've got some heat in the leg, maybe that helps. And you come out of it, and then diagonally step the other leg away over, leg stays straight, kind of just for fun, see how you go. Might be terrible, might be better this side. Let's see how you go. Standing over there. Yeah, pretty good. And you kick out your legs. You sway your arms a bit from side to side, side to side. Throw in a wide arms just to celebrate, reaching all the way up. And your hands come down in front of your heart. Pretty good stuff. So then we're going to try and do finish off with some of the harder stuff. So see if we get the right foot to step over with the knee bent. Okay, and then we're leaning in and trying to make the left foot a bit light. We're going to try and move the left foot around a bit. So we're going to see if we can step it to the side. So it's like at 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock. What are you on? You're on 9. I'm on 3 because I'm doing the opposite. Anyway, to the side. To the side covers that. You're leaning in, and then you might try and go a little bit further forward. But just be careful of the standing leg knee, okay? And then you go back to the side and diagonally back behind you. And then we come off of it, and we go the other way. So left foot goes onto the block, you're leaning in, and then maybe you can get the back foot to go alongside, and then maybe up to the front a bit. Abandon the clock face, you can tell I'm just changing what we call it. So not getting a fiddle, and then you go to the side and then back and come out and kick out your legs. Yeah, pretty good. Wide arms, reach all the way up, and your hands come down in front of you. Excellent stuff. We're going to bring the blocks back in so they're back to the original position. And we're going to see if we can get the right foot to come on, and we're going to see if we get the left foot, the other foot, to step over and then back. Yeah, so over and back. We've kind of done all of this, but now we should be a little bit more fluid. And if it's too much, then you just keep the foot back behind and lean in and out, but you step over and back. Good. And then we're just going to step the left foot onto the block and then do the other foot. So the right foot is going to go back and in front. Back and in front. Excellent stuff. Then we're going to put both feet onto the blocks. This works on the floor as well with no cushions. You have your both knees bent a little bit, arms go out in front of you, and just see, even if just a little bend in the knees and standing up. Yeah, so a little bend in the knees and standing up. Yeah, and you might try and go a little bit lower and come back up. A bit lower and come back up. Nice. Let's do 2 more, nice and low, come back up. Nice and low, and come back up. And you carefully just step off of the blocks, kick out your legs, and then the foam blocks, cushions, caps, whatever they are done. They go out to the side. Good work. And then we're going to go feet to hip distance, and we're just going to revisit the squat without the cushions underneath us, so your arms are out in front, and you just see if you can do a little bit of a bend your knees, and then standing up. See if you can get 5 of those in, so lowering down and coming up. Yeah. Down and coming up. Down, coming up. One, you could do more, you could do less. I'm going to do 1 more. Very good. And you come out and you kick out your legs and sway your arms. Nice work, everybody. Then we're going to go on to our bricks, which just work as markers for our forward fold, okay? So what we're going to do, I'll go side on for the camera, but what we're going to do is we're going to step our left foot out in front of us, so it's like half a stride. So left toes are pointing forwards, right toes are kind of at 2 o'clock on the clock face. And it's just it's a forward fold over this straight leg. So you're hinging at the hips, trying to fold. Now you could just stay here. You could have had your hands on your hips with no props, because that's already, you feel the stretch on the back of the leg. But we've got these bricks to try and see if we can get them close to the floor. Now some of us have one on top of the other, which is a good stage to give you a little bit of support, even though you can't trust it too much. Or others over time, or you could even have one on its side on top of the other one that's tall. Or maybe you might be able to get, I can get on fingertips, I can get both blocks to the floor. And then just a quick thought of having a long neck, shoulders away from the ears. And then one more breath. Nice. So you can either leave the blocks there or bring them up as you stand up and out of it and come away. And then you kick out your legs a little bit. And if you can, that left leg, you might almost try and kick your bum a little bit if you can keep your balance. And then we're going to go the other way. So your right foot goes out in front of you, half a stride. And I mentioned it last week, but over time, that's going to be a really big, really big stride. And then you get your fingertips closer to the floor. It's a much bigger stretch, but we're working kind of halfway. Again, you could be hands on your hips and just go a little bit, or maybe you've got a coffee table markers or something. You can just see where you get to. Doesn't matter where you get to, but over time, you will get better at this. Your flexibility will increase. And then just try and get 2 or 3 kind of calm breaths in. So you send a signal to the body that it's nothing major, nice and peaceful. Good. And then when you're ready, you come all the way up to standing up and you kick out your legs a little bit. And you can even kind of kick your bum with both, or with especially that left leg, right leg. Very good. Then we're just going to grab one block and have it in our hands with our palm flat out in front of us. And it's a little bit like the elbows and the arm circles. We're just going to see how our shoulder's doing. So we're going to see if we can bring the block towards our ribs and the elbow goes out to the side. Kind of do a few of those. That's kind of the beginning stage of the move. Or if you can, we're going to try and get it underneath the shoulder and take it back behind you. I mean, you could be you don't even need a prop. It could be an apple, it could be anything, but it's quite good with the block because it's just a little bit annoying. You kind of got to move out the way. And then you've done that, we can kind of forwards, we can try and go back. And then you might even go back and even out to the side a little bit and try and come around and forwards and then around. Oops, just saved it out to the side. All right. And then after a few of those, the full version would be back behind you out to the side. And you try and get it around. Shall I spin the camera around to film you lot doing that? All right. And then the opposite is you go out in front and you almost get your elbow to point forward. So it's almost like you're getting into your shoulder and your elbow. And you could just do that where you're going like that to the side, or it goes around and you're trying to do the reverse of what you just did. Comes around. Maggie's, yeah, what's next? And then you come around. You're trying to go around and under. But anyways, there's a whole bit where you're kind of moving your body out the way to give your shoulder more range of motion. Then we swap over to the other hand. That's really technical. You've got to make sure that's done professionally. And then the other side. So the elbow goes out and you just almost bash it into your ribs. And that might be enough. It might be a real niggle. You might not be that comfy with that. Or you try and make way and get it back behind you. And then out in front. See, I had it for ages, a bit of a dodgy forearm. So this feels quite nice. It feels like I'm getting a good stretch out of the forearm. Anyway, after that, you're trying to go out to the side a bit and then back around to the front. And the next bit would be out to the side and maybe, bring it all the way around. And you can grip if you like, but the trick would be no gripping. And then the opposite is kind of out to the side and your elbow and shoulder help you push forwards. And then maybe you can go around the head and then underneath you. Pretty good. Yeah? Anyway, just helps you kind of move the body out the way a little bit. Excellent stuff. So then we're done. We're done. We're going to make our way down onto the floor. I think we've done everything with that. Yeah, that's great. So what we're going to do is gently come down onto the floor, moving your props out the way. And we're going to kind of sit on our bum. And then we could, before we lie down, we're just going to have the knees bent with the feet on the floor. You all right? Everybody okay? Good stuff. And you kind of wrap your arms around your knees and let your head hang heavy. And you can just stay in the middle, or you could sway a little bit from side to side. Side to side. Good. And then we kind of lift the head up, and we're going to see if we can get the hands to go back behind us with the fingertips pointing away. So you're trying over time to get your hands to stay on mat. All mats are a bit different, but to roughly stay on the mat. But if it's a bit strong for your shoulders and your wrists, they can go wide. I can get away with it. I'm almost half on, half off. And then you draw your shoulders back a little bit behind you. It's like your ribs are being drawn up towards the ceiling. See how that feels? Shouldn't feel too bad. Good. And then you just relax. So check you're happy with the arms, the shoulders, and we just move the knees a little bit from side to side, side to side. And then try to let the knees go over to the right. Be careful, you might not like or be able to let them go all the way over. It's the top knee, the left knee that's gently falling in. It should be nice for the knee, but it might not like it. And then you're going to try and get this left hand off the ground and just float it up to the sky and push into the hand that's on the floor. And then that's it. You come back to this position and you sway a bit from side to side. And then can you let the knees gently go over to the other side, and then just monitor that top knee, see how that feels. And if it's bearable, then float that right arm up in the air and push into the floor a little bit. Good. And then we're going to come back to the center. You do a couple of sways in the middle, and then we're going to lie down on the floor in a minute, but we're going to do all this with the knee falling out wide, the shin going horizontal, and stuff like that, okay? So you gently lower yourself down to the ground. Your arms are alongside your body. I've run out of mat, I've got to shimmy down the mat a little bit. So my head's got some padding. Good stuff. So we just revisit the pelvic floor and the Pilates center, so the tilting of the soup bowl. So see if you can engage your pelvic floor, your core, your glutes. Because I say it and then I'll forget in like 5 seconds time. So trying to keep that engaged. And then so even though we're lying on the floor, it's all a bit different. Can you tilt your soup bowl away from you? Like you're tilting your pelvis away. So loads of curve in the back, lower back. And then you tilt it the other way. You almost tilt it up towards you, and it probably pushes your lower back flat into the floor. And then you keep going. Remember, engage the muscles, but tilt away from you towards the heels. And then tilt up towards you. So you're rolling forwards and backwards, kind of getting 3 or 4 rounds in. Good. And then when you've done that, you come to the center. And then what we're going to do is going to keep the left foot and the left knee are going to stay put, but the right knee is gently going to fall out to the side. And then you bring that knee back to pointing up to the ceiling, and you're going out and back, out and back. Could be 3, could be 5, could be 7 times, but you're trying to keep your pelvic floor, your core, your glutes, trying to engage the muscles as much as you can. Pretty good stuff. So we're going to change it. So you can just carry on with that. Or if you want to, you could lift the right foot off the floor so the shin is horizontal, and then carry on with that knee going wide and back. So instead of just doing 5, swapping, and then coming back to this, we're trying to make it a bit tougher by almost doing 2 poses back to back, or doing a longer run of movements, longer of reps. Focus on the muscles, take it easy. I'm going to do a couple more, so I've roughly done kind of 5 and 5. Good, and then when you're done, no rush, you can do more, you can do less. That foot goes to the floor, but what we could do is just slide that right leg away, foot away, and give the leg a bit of a wobble, so you're creating some space in the front of that right hip. And then bend the knee and bring the foot back to where it was, and then straight away The opposite knee, the left knee, goes out wide and comes back. Nice and controlled, engaging your muscles. The opposite knee doesn't move if you can help it. Wide and back. Wide and back. And then you carry on with that, nice and steady. If you want to ramp it up a bit, you bring your left shin horizontal to the ground like half a tabletop, and then you go out wide and back. Wide and back. Which is a little bit, you have to kind of concentrate a bit more on that one. I've got one more to go, but again, do more, do less. Good, then that, whenever you're ready, that foot goes to the floor, but we could slide it away. Should feel quite nice for the hip, the leg, and you can give the leg a little bit of a wobble. Good stuff. Then we bend that knee, the foot goes onto the floor. Now the hands come onto the thighs, tops of the thighs, and we lift the head up, and we see if we can get a little bit of core work in here. So it's almost like you're trying to slide your fingertips a bit higher up the knees and towards the knees and then down. You're kind of going up and down, up and down. So engaging your muscles, you can keep them small or you can kind of push a little bit. You might have to stop at 5. You want to try and get over 5 if you can. I'm 8 coming up for me. I'm going to do 2 more. And then have a little break, arms alongside the body, and just taking a couple of kind of big exaggerated breaths. Good stuff. You could do the same thing again, or what would be quite good is if you get your left hand to go on top of the right hand. And it's a similar deal, it's sliders, but you're trying to slide around the edge of the leg, the right leg, and down. Just little movements, but so it gets into the obliques, so the side core. So you're just doing a little bit of trying to slide around the side of the leg a little bit. You feel it in your ribs. If you don't like it, then just take a break or go back to the middle. And then it would be kind of 7 or 8. But if you can hit 10, that's great. But you're just kind of sliding around the side. I think I'm on 9. And oof, pretty good. 10. Having a little bit of a relax down on the ground. Get some big breaths in to cool things off. And notice shoulder, bicep, ribs, wherever you feel it. Good. Then we go back. We're going to do the other side. So the head lifts, and now for me, I'm going to do the other side. My right hand goes on top of my left. My hands slide to the edge of my left thigh, and then I'm just going to kind of slide around and down. So it's like a bit of like a side sit-up, basically. Trying to get into the core, the obliques on this side. And if you need to stop or it's too hard, feel free, just take a break. 6 for me. 7, 8, 9, 9.4, 9.4666, recurring, and then done. Couple more breaths. Good stuff. So now we're just going to bend going to draw the right knee towards us and see if you can give that knee a little bit of a hug, like you're pulling it towards you, and then gently slide the left leg away and see how that goes. And then we're just going to swap it over. So you swap over, hug one knee, other leg slides away. See if you can give that a bit of a hug. Very good. And then we go back to both knees bent, feet on the floor. Arms are going to be alongside the body with the palms down. And we're just going to do the pelvic tilt again. So see if you can tilt the pelvis, the hips away from you. And then tilt them back towards you. But then push into your feet and lift your tailbone off the floor a little bit. So it's like a glute bridge raise. and then we gently roll down to the ground and tilt the hips away. Then we tilt them back towards us, and it might naturally lift your tailbone off the floor, and you could go with that and push your hips to the sky a bit. I'm just going to do 2 more of those. So you lower down, tilt the hips forwards, and then tilt them back and push up to the sky for a glute bridge. Yeah, nice. 1 more of those. Pelvis away, pelvis up, and then pushing up. Excellent stuff. Then we just come to neutral, and then we're going to see if we can get the right shin to lift up for half a tabletop, and then the other shin is going to join in. So now we've got both shins horizontal to the ground, and we're going to see if we can, you've got to engage your muscles as well. See if you can, it's like toe taps from here. So can your right knee bend and the right toes tap the floor, and then come up, and then the other knee bend and the toes tap. You're going to see if you can do kind of 10 each side, toes tapping, nice and controlled each side. Yeah, very good. Keep going if you can. Probably the fronts of the hips, hip flexors, getting a bit tired. Cool, it's pretty tough if you can do the lot. I think I've got 2 more each side. When you're done, that is good, that is tough. Your feet come to the floor, and then you can just nudge your feet wider, and then let your knees fall in and lean against each other. So it's quite nice. It almost pushes your lower back into the ground, and get some breaths in here. Pretty good. So now we just need to make our way onto our stomachs. So you can spin around or just roll onto your tummy. It's up to you. And then what we could do is you could just put one hand on top of each other to make a pillow for the forehead, and rest your head down onto your hands. You nudge your elbows away a little bit, and then just get some good breaths in here. So it's quite nice. You've got space in the back of the heart to breathe into. One more breath. Excuse me. Excellent stuff. So some back strengthening stuff to finish. So what we're going to try and do, you can always do it in stages as well. Excuse me. But it's almost like you just straighten out the right leg, and the right knee might lift off the ground. So you're kind of engaging your right leg and trying to engage your glutes as well, so switch the bum on and a bit of core strength. And then you just relax that leg. And then you'd go the other side. So maybe you just try and make the leg stronger, engage the muscles. Maybe the knee lifts off the floor. And then down. And then we go back to the first side. So we're just going to alternate. The knee lifts and the leg might lift up. Try and switch on the glutes, the bum muscles. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Keep squeezing, keep holding if you can. And then relax that down. Then the other side. Other leg can lift if you like. It doesn't have to if it's too strong. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze though. So glutes, maybe some core strength you feel there, lower back strength. And then down. One more time each side. This time the leg might lift up a little bit higher, but monitor the back. Squeeze, try and hold it, and try and breathe there as well. So we get a couple of breaths in and then relax down. And then the other side. Can you lift, squeeze, hold, and breathe, 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 and then down. And then we relax. We have a little bit of a wobble in the hips, like we're trying to shake out the back. Very good. And then we just bend the right knee with the foot poking up in the air, and just wobble, sway that foot from side to side. So you're getting a bit of a thigh massage, again, a bit of movement in the hips. And then let that leg go away. And then the other knee bends and you give that one a bit of a wobble in the air, sway in the air. Nice. Then we let the leg rest down on the ground. And then now we're going to lift the head up and just see if you can float the arms out ahead of you. So forearms are parallel to each other, arms are out ahead of you. And you kind of, in between poses, might have to rest on your chin or keep your head lifted. Anyway, at the moment, you're kind of looking to the floor so your neck is long, so you don't have to put tension in the neck. And we're going to just try. It could just be that the right elbow lifts off the floor and the right hand is still on the ground, or you lift the whole arm off the floor. Same deal. See if you can get a breath or two in here. Calm breaths. And then you relax that arm down. Then the other side, it could just be the elbow lifts off the ground or the arm lifts off the ground. Calm breaths if you can. And then relaxing that arm down. And then straight away, the right arm could lift up. You might go a little bit higher now if you feel you can get away with it. Monitor the back. And then lower that arm down. And then the other side. Can you lift up? Can you hold it? Get a breath or two in. Nice. And then relax the arm down. You can rest on your chin, or you could quickly put your hands underneath your forehead. Good stuff. Then we just try and add all of that in together if you can. So we'll do opposites. So if you can get your right knee off the ground, your right toes off the floor, and lift that leg up a little bit, then maybe your left arm can come off the ground and you're trying to lift them up. And get maybe one more breath in. And then gently lowering down, and then trying to swap sides. Again, if it's too much, you just skip it or do what we did earlier, but left leg lifts, right arm lifts, push it a little bit, get a couple of breaths in. That feels pretty good. And then relax down. Take a couple of breaths, just getting a quick breather in. Good stuff. We'll do one more each side. So see if you can lift the left arm and the right leg like you're stretching away from each other, but lifting. And then lowering down, and then the other side, other arm, other leg. See if you can lift up, back strength, breathe, breathe, breathe. Looking pretty good, and then relax all the way down. We'll take 2 or 3 breaths here. Good stuff. You could continue having a break, or we could try everything. We could try 1 leg, 2 legs. Maybe just do the legs, or you get 1 arm, 2 arms floating off the floor. That's very tough. Push, push, push. And then relax down. We do 1 more go after this little break. You could sway the hips a bit from side to side. Good stuff. And then if you want to, we're going to go again. Head lifts, legs lift, arms lift, and just see how long you can hold on to it. Maybe it's 4 breaths. Push, push, push. Chin is in a little bit. Neck is nice and long. Push, 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 push. And then gently collapse down onto the ground. Hands pillow could make a forehead. You could sway the hips a little bit from side to side, if you like as well. And then just resting and taking a couple of breaths here. Nice. Then we lift the head up. We're gonna swing. We're gonna roll onto our backs. Yeah, everybody's the right way round, so you can just roll onto your backs. Should feel pretty good. I'll just do a couple of twists to finish. So just taking a couple of breaths here. Nice. Then the feet are kind of close together, legs are straight. We bend the right knee with the foot on the floor and we just sway the knee a little bit from side to side. Just getting a bit of like a wave-like motion back in the body. Good. Then we're going to try a couple of twists. So can we hug the right knee in a little bit or pull it towards us? And then your left hand would take your right knee a little bit over to the side. If that feels okay, then go a bit further, draw it over a little bit more, and your right arm, the spare arm, could just flop out to the side, kind of level with the shoulder and the palm up. If you want to, it is quite a strong twist, your left hand could let go of the knee and just go out to the side as well. But there's some people really want that pull of the arm pulling the knee over. So a spinal twist is the main reason for this. Shoulders relaxed. And then coming back to the center. And we're going to swap over. So you let that leg slide away. And then the left knee comes in for a bit of a squeeze. You give it a squeeze. And it pushes your lower back into the floor. And then we're going to get the right hand to take that left knee across the body a little bit or a lot if you can get away with it. Your left arm flops out to the side and the right arm, if you want to, it could let go of the knee or it could keep hold of the knee out to the side. And again, just take a couple of breaths here. Good. Then that knee comes back to the middle. And if you can, we could just briefly hug both knees towards us. Your hands are on your knees. Be really careful. We just do knee circles where your knees go wide and away, one direction, and then we swap it over, go back around in the other direction. Pretty good. And then that's it. We just do a few breaths in a resting pose, Shavasana. So you could have feet together, knees wide, but that's a bit strong for the hips. You could do the feet wide, knees in the middle that we did earlier, or you could just kick out your legs straight and your arms out alongside the body with the palms facing up. We tuck the chin in and we just spend about kind of 20-30 seconds getting some calm breaths in and just bringing closure to the end of the practice, like the energy settling down in the body. But yeah, calm, long breaths if you can. Pretty good. Then we just slide the feet together. The arms go above the head for a little bit of a stretch, pointing through the toes, stretch the fingers nice and long. And then scrunching the fingers and the thumbs, moving the wrists one way and the other, one way and the other. And then bringing one hand onto your chest, the other hand on top, and taking a couple of big breaths into your hands. Should be feeling pretty good, hopefully. Good. And then you take a nice big inhale and open your arms nice and wide, like you're going for a big hug. And then that's it. Well done, everybody. Thanks for coming.